I tried to define love from my natural feelings. Chapter 1. I tried to analyze love by feeling it and thinking about it. Do people need to love and be loved? Look at animals out in the animal kingdom. Most are loners. They look for food, a comfortable place to sleep and safety from predators. Males look for sex. Females give birth to babies who they nurture for a while but then leave and go off on their own again. Domesticated animals seem to need love. They seem lost without affection. If their owners abandon them, they seem to fall to pieces. Loads of people live alone and die alone. Loads of people who live with others have no real intimacy with the people they live with. These people could be a spouse, their children, other relatives, friends, co-workers, paying housemates, etc. I think this is one of the big unsung tragedies nobody wants to talk about much. I'm so cynical I can't trust people. I'm a sociable guy. I act like a good old boy, but I'm really cynical because of my experiences with people throughout my life. I would like closer intimate relationships, but I feel that most people start at self-centered and tend more towards selfish to evil than goodness or saintliness. I also feel that most people have been massively brainwashed by our materialistic, capitalist, pop culture society. They want glittery things and want to feel like they're cool and part of the illusory in crowd. I want honest, true friends without pretense, but modern society has us playing an invisible status wealth game. The game is that I'm higher and mightier than you on the invisible socio-economic status monitor. If you don't believe me, watch TV reality shows. They are all about upmanship games. Everybody thinks they're better than everybody else, so they're all trying to impose their egos on each other. None of it works. They end up hating each other. I think it's nice to give love and be loved, but like George Benson sings the song Greatest Love of All, and Paul in the book of Corinthians said, the greatest love is to love yourself. If you can find someone to share it with, that's great. You have to love yourself to live a good to great life. The key is to love yourself, share it, and don't worry about whether other people love you. Just be who you are. Be open to life. A pet will always love you no matter what. Love who you are and share it. You cannot make other people love you. Some people might see the beauty and kindness in you and fall in love with you, but love is not necessarily forever. People betray each other or see weakness in each other, then develop contempt for people they once loved. I feel that most people want to love and be loved, but I also feel that I live in a massively polluted capitalist, pop culture world which has torn whatever kind hearts many people had at birth out of them and replaced it with selfish materialistic hearts, always wanting more stuff, always wanting to look more cool and trendy, and always playing silent egotistical own-upmanship games with other people, wanting to feel like they're better than everyone else. This is why I think I live in a cold-hearted modern world where most people delude themselves into thinking they are good and kind, but they're not. The evidence is in all the frivolous material possessions they have and all the time they spend on frivolous pursuits, being entertained rather than trying to do something great and noble with their lives. What is the obsession with so-called celebrities all about? Why do we have all those so-called entertainment news shows? Are they trying to make me jealous of those so-called celebrities and trying to get me to imitate that headspace where I'm trying to be like them because they are supposed to be really, really cool, advanced people? Watch TV commercials. They are the headspace that most superficial people live in. Lovability info / how can I be lovable? The Bible says be love, give love. Get love by giving it. That's about it. Look at your pets. Why are they so lovable? They are affectionate, warm. They purr and smile. Your dog opens up his belly so you can scratch it. They are loyal. They don't talk, they can't say anything stupid. They exist to be your friend. They don't make demands on you. They accept you regardless of your looks, monetary worth, etc. If you want to be lovable, be more like a domesticated animal. Lots of tween girls fall in a fake delusionary kind of love with the latest manufactured teen idol, but that's all a marketing technique to sell fake love, The idea that some kid is cute, nice, loving, and a great singer too, and you can have a fantasy love affair with this person. The love philosophers say love is not a feeling. The feeling of attraction is infatuation and delusion unless you act on it by doing nice, caring things. People fake love all the time, pretending to care about others by doing nice, helpful things for others even though they do not love them but pretend to. Christianity tells us to love others as we love ourselves, Book of Corinthians, or at least to be kind and helpful as with the Good Samaritan story. Jesus said, "Love one another as I have loved you." If we loved one another, there would be no poverty in the world. There is enough food and stuff for everyone. The problem is that the greedy people take way more than they need and do not share it with poor people. I say, if you can't be loving, fake it. The thing that gets me about love is all these people claim to love one other person like a boyfriend, spouse, son, daughter, etc. But if you are truly loving, wouldn't you love everybody? UNICEF says about 30,000 poor kids die every day of sickness and malnutrition. Most of us don't stop to ponder this fact and feel sorrow for them, but if our own child gets sick, we fall to pieces. Is this love, or a selfish kind of love which is not really love? I'm a cynical man. I believe we live in a society based on capitalist, pop culture values, which has made most of us very selfish by indoctrinating us through advertising, so we constantly try to please our desires, as in food, clothes, entertainment, material goods, etc. And on top of that, we are always trying to be in the illusory top socioeconomic group of society by trying to culture a cool, wealthy image about ourselves to impress others. Lovability is how much other people like you because of your friendliness, helpfulness, and fun attitude with them. Be lovable by loving yourself and spreading it around. Lovability is knowing how to love and be loved. Love is caring for someone and not making any demands on them. Lovability is the ability to love and to be loved. What really is love? Is it a good thing, madness, or a delusion? Love lies buried in the soul until awakened by an object worthy of desire. Romantic love and lust have existed since the beginning of mankind. Even though people fancy certain other people, I say we are not monogamous by nature. We can fall in love many times with many different people. When I was young, I fell in love a few times. It was a big deal for me. I idealized my lovers as the perfect fit for me. I was immature. I didn't realize that love fades and you can get that infatuation loving feeling with lots of different people. People kill themselves because they can't be with the one they love. They think that certain person is it for them. It's really a temporary mental illness. I say never fall in love to the point where you abandon your reasoning powers for it. Stay cool no matter what. I see plenty of women and men who have been burned in love keep going back to try to find that loving feeling that they think will enable them to live happily ever after with someone else. It's a healthy, positive pursuit, to look for a loving partner, but if you don't find it while you're young, living life should give you enough experience to know that your happiness or lack of it is a function of your own thoughts and actions tied into earning your self-respect. Yet I see all kinds of people past 40 pinning their hopes for happiness on finding some elusive person that will do it for them. It's partially the madness of people in general and partially capitalist marketing through the media, because people on the hunt looking for love spend lots of money trying to look as good and successful as they possibly can. That's good for business. If the people of the world were like me, they would feel no need to try to impress others. They wouldn't buy big sports cars. Fashion would be a joke to laugh at. They would live in modest houses with just what they needed in them, as opposed to big houses with lots of junk in them that looked good to impress others but had no real practical value. Why do people get lonely? Most of us have friends, relatives, and pets, but we are still not satisfied. We want a glorious kind of love like we see on TV in fictional shows and in the fake stories they feed us on what they call entertainment news about the love lives of our so-called celebrities with their fancy weddings and over-the-top excesses. What is the point where romantic love goes to an unhealthy, dependency obsession? I honestly don't know. I feel like a wise old fool. I like to feel my heady days of youth. I still do a lot of physical activities. I'm still as horny as ever. I would like to have sex or make love with lots of different women. Can I live out those feelings of a monogamous romance? I'm just horny. I have to live with it. One thing is certain. The love industry will never go out of style because it's pounded into us by the capitalist marketing machine all the time. Loads of people are stuck on the hope that they will feel the fresh, free feeling of being in love that will last forever. Loads of people ruin their lives looking for love or putting all their hopes on their lover, then they break up and fall to pieces. The sex science tells us that hot passion cools off. People fall out of love with each other for lots of reasons. They often fall in love with someone new, then that cools off, so they're back to that average mundane feeling again, alone together. We have huge mental health and self-help industries. People have loads of problems by themselves as individuals before they even start on their relationship issues. The poets, artists, pop singers, and capitalist marketing people who create TV commercials and shows try to seduce us with the romantic ideal as the highest, most fun, most ecstatic state of being within the human condition that we should aspire to, but in reality most of us aren't all that good looking so as to arouse lusty passion in another. Most of us have to work every day to make money to pay our bills. Most of us have other personal problems, all the way from an addiction to existential problems, feeling empty because we don't know who we are or have a sense of purpose about ourselves. What gets me is all these lost souls with weak minds and very little self-respect, with no understanding of how to earn it day by day, going around half-cocked looking for someone to fill up this emptiness within themselves which cannot be filled by another person. I realized that my allegiance in life is to honor my true nature by releasing most of my natural energy every day to meet, come close to, or exceed the natural intuitive standard within myself of who I feel I was born to be. I feel that if you don't live like this, you're a lost soul in some way. For a lost soul to be going around looking for love is like an addict looking for his next fix. Love can't help you until and unless you got your own head screwed on straight. Granted, a few losers meet someone who helps them magically transform into a stellar person. That's the power of love, but if you want to be real, the truth is that very few people have true loving relationships and marriages. They're mostly pseudo-superficial relationships based on caricatures and images people get from the media about what romantic love is. That's the way I see it, which is why I never take anyone seriously when they say they're in love and they're so happy, they got a new lease on life, because I know that a relationship will not make you a great, happy human being if you ain't already got it within yourself by yourself. Everybody in the media and self-help world is always talking about passion. Passion is supposed to be the great happiness aliveness elixir, so we fall in love, jump out of airplanes, do drugs, cheat, fall out of love, stalk, fight in divorce court, and even kill our spurned lovers. Think about love for a minute as one of the few high emotions in life. Capitalism is selling us on the idea that we have to pursue these high emotions in order to be cool and live great lives. I see it all as a sales pitch. I see the numbers of romance novels sold relative to other books. It's very high. Porn is huge for men and some women. It's all about selling a high emotion to people. Are people searching for love or searching for a feeling that is for sale out there? What really is love? Is it two people enjoying a cup of coffee in the morning, or is it some kind of dreamy lusty scene of passion in the barn? Is it two people driving along the coast on a sunny day? Is it two people walking the dog? Do couples really talk much in a real way? Why do single people get lonely? Love is not a great, glorious, passionate event most of the time. It's two people with a mutual friendship throughout the day, one day at a time. It's not burning intensity, yet this is the ideal that people seem to want. You spend all of your life alone in your own thoughts. You create relationships with people, but they are all living alone in the fantasies and delusions in their minds. Your saving grace is that you shroud these superficial relationships in a kind of sacredness where you make them seem more precious and valuable than they really are. If you analyze your life through the minutes of the day, you are a lone human being who will always be alone in your own mind most of the time. Regardless of whether you are single or in a loving relationship, you are still alone in your head most of the time. Most people will not get the fairy tale romance novel kind of love, but the fantasy is a nice ideal. That's where love is. It's what you create in your mind. As far as actions towards your lover, most couples don't talk in an honest, intimate way, most feel self-conscious about sex, and most are fumbling at romance. So that's where it is. I don't care if there are 10,000 books about love, sex, and romance on the market and people talk about it in the media as though everybody is open and liberated. People are still alone in their own heads and self-conscious about opening up to show love and affection freely and passionately. People say they want affection and romance, but they don't seem to have the guts or can't be bothered making romantic, loving gestures during life as lived day by day. They would rather watch TV and eat junk food than face their spouse to talk, walk, or make love. Most people say they are romantic and affectionate, but in truth they live superficial lives together. Lovability/love game. Why are you attracted to someone? Why do you like them? Why do they like you? I found a forum online supposedly for rock stars where the webmaster asked rock stars, or people pretending to be pop stars and musicians, what turns them on, what is love and sexual game, why do you really like somebody, what is it that turns you on about a person? There were at least 2,000 comments made by rock stars about love and sex. I thought these people would be posting up a bunch of low-life, scuzzball comments all trying to outdo one another as to how cool and extreme they were, but they're human beings like everyone else, and they are artists, or at least think they are, so they are generally more sensitive than the average person. Most of the little stories I read there were posted by people who had romantic souls, wanted love, and were honest about masturbation and fumbling sex. These are some of the tidbits of info I thought were kind of interesting. I'm attracted to a person's disposition, how they carry themselves, how they move and talk. To me, it's about an indescribable air of identity and certainty. It's primal and intuitive. You can usually tell if somebody is faking confidence or not. I look at someone and either feel their sense of primal sexual confidence or lack of it. I like a look that exudes a free-spirited kind of happiness. I'm attracted to someone with an easy nature. I met a Samoan girl in the 1980s who was not the typical beauty because of her race, and she was taller and bigger than the average, going about 145 pounds, but after all these years she's still the sexiest girl I ever saw in all my life because she had a healthy look and attitude about herself. No white girl I've ever seen comes close, including all of our so-called celebrities. I'm not interested in young, fresh, naive girls because they're too insecure and self-conscious. I like somebody with life experience and wisdom. I like a girl who dresses nicely but not slutty or fashionable to extreme excess. I don't like overt sexual dress or mannerisms. Somebody sexy just is. They have a light for life in their auras. It's like you know he or she would fuck like a champ. I like somebody who expresses their sexual desires and preferences in a classy way. They're not crude about it. I like somebody who doesn't do stupid things just for shock value, like we don't have to do public displays of affection, or just because we're alone in an elevator doesn't mean we have to jump each other like desperados. People should act their age. A girl shouldn't act too sexy. It seems inappropriate for a girl barely 20 to act like a seasoned porn star. Corny pickup lines don't work. The girl is in charge. If she likes you, she will smile and flirt. It doesn't matter much what the guy says as long as he is nice, sociable, and gentlemanly. Physical beauty can only take you so far. You have to have a good personality and sociable manner. He appreciates me for who I am. He never tries to tear me down or correct me. We spend time together doing things and talking. We can talk and express our feelings to each other. He has traditional values, but he's adventurous too. Drugs and alcohol are fun once in a while, but if someone does them all the time, they got a serious problem, and they're horrible at relationships because their first allegiance is to their addiction. Boob jobs look good for a girl with her clothes on, but if there are scars from the surgery when she is naked, it ruins it. Most people like straight wholesome sex. If you ask them straight up, most people say they're not really interested in fetishes or offbeat sex. Great lovers are slow lovers who take their time. They're not in a hurry to fuck and come. They want romance and foreplay. People want their lovers to show enthusiasm with lovemaking. Good looks, cleanliness, and good grooming account for most first-sight attraction. Gentle kissing, hugging, affection and romance are very important to warm a lover up. If you don't do this, your lovers will turn off to you very quickly. Women want a guy who commits to them, who does nice romantic gestures for them. I like someone who doesn't lie about sex, someone who doesn't brag about sexual exploits or pretends they're too cool to masturbate. Be attentive. Pay attention to your lover. Have a sense of humor and sense of stability. Respect whoever you're with. Be a good listener. Be honest. Spend time together. Cook for him or her. Take her out for supper. Be easygoing. Don't do drama. Bring gifts. The heart of attraction is to be attentive, to get to know someone, know what they like and don't like and treat them the best that you can based on your knowledge of them. You study who they are because you love them. You try to make them happy. I like feeling a sense of security with my lover. He's not afraid to be who he is and show affection for me. Talk, listen, participate in bed together. If the lovemaking is bad or non-existent, the relationship will be bad. Tell your lover what you are thinking, what is going on in your life rather than keeping it all silent. There is a sense of trust between us. Be kind. Actions speak louder than words. Don't be needy, clingy or overdependent. Respect your lover. I know I was in love when I wanted to be with her in her presence all the time. He lets me be myself. I like no fakeness, no colored hair, no tattoos, no nose rings, no piercings, somebody not overdone. These things are all brainwash from the world. I am attracted to someone being themselves who has a good nature, a sexy essence and a healthy body. Lovability websites. Lovability.it. Dictionary.reference.com/browse/lovability. thefreedictionary.com/lovability. theabilitytolove.wordpress.com. abilityoflove.com. bloggers.com/topics/finding+love. celebratelove.com/whatislove.htm. wikihow.com/love. youtube.com, romantic love. Chapter 2. Love as a transformative power. Two sad people in love / the transformative power of love. Can two sad, lonely, depressed people meet, fall in love and transform their lives both as individuals and as a couple? I've known a couple of loser-type people of both genders who met someone, fell in love, then became respectable people who worked regular jobs, got married, and had kids. Whenever I see people truly in love, in a lot of those cases, it's defective people who had serious problems in life like being poor, ex-cons, having a mental illness or something like that. They meet someone who feels that that person needs them. They feel like they can matter to that person beyond just some superficial relationship based on doing minor pop culture things together like go to the movies, go to a concert, go bowling, etc. They bond in an intense way. That's more real than all these half-assed couples everywhere who have nothing much in common except that they like the same TV shows or the same pop bands. I believe that love has a transformative power for some people who are going through hard times. Hard times or a hard life unites people kind of like the war years did. I heard some stories about lonely, lost, forlorn people who met someone, felt they each needed each other and built a strong loving bond that enabled them both to thrive. This would be a good theme for a non-fiction book of stories, people who were down and out on the road to nowhere who transformed their lives through falling in love with someone. Can love take away a person's low self-esteem and pain? Lots of people think that if they meet the right person and fall in love, all their problems will be solved. They think that their life will now be good all the time. They do not factor in the fact that you are a lone individual who answers to yourself no matter what. Another person can help you feel better and be more inspired, but there are mentally ill people, messed up people, and people like war veterans who can't be helped, not even by love. They live in some hell in their mind. Besides that, you have to earn your self-respect alone. Love is taking on your lover's pain. If you fall in love with someone, you are willing to listen to their stories of the sad things in their lives and have sympathy for them. You're also willing to help them when they feel pain, as in getting fired, stubbing their toe, being bullied, getting cancer, getting ripped off by a con artist, etc. You have to feel their pain, listen to them, and invest time with them. This is what love is. You have to give of yourself in sharing your lover's pain when he or she gets it. My question is, do people do this much in modern society? A lot of people bail out of relationships very quickly when hard times hit. Where is the real love? Chapter 3. A True Love Guide 1. My deep soul theory of love / deep soul deep love. I generally only respect people who try to go for the deepest recesses of their ride of the human condition. I generally only like people who make an effort to release whatever is in their soul with intensity, love, and gusto for the process. I generally don't like spectator consumer pop culture people who work some average job then consume stuff, food, alcohol, and entertainment, and that's their life. There is no effort to try to do something original, great, or tough. I'm pretty cynical about what I think of as middle-class love, these consumer spectator type people who have never been out of their comfort zone, who have never experienced any real intensity, pain, or suffering in their lives. One of these people meets some generic, average pop culture glutton like themselves. They pretend they're in love, then marry and live superficial lives together. Why is The Great Gatsby considered a great American novel? It's because the rich guy worked his ass off to get rich, then with that wealth, he felt he earned the right to marry the girl from the high socioeconomic neighborhood. The only thing missing was a true, soulmate, deep intimate love. This is the profound statement from the novel that most people seem to miss. They think it's just a commentary on the great capitalist American system where rich people get whatever they want, even immunity from the law, but the book was really about the failure of pursuing material wealth at the expense of living by whatever is in your deep soul or true nature. Gatsby's whole life was the pursuit of artificial values from the world rather than trying to be himself. He didn't get much happiness out of it. If you look at Henry Ford's life and compare it to his son's life, it was the same conflict. Henry Ford had contempt for material excess and the fair weather partying crowd. He was a man of action who loved to work. His son was a bum who tried to buy happiness and acceptance by hosting big parties all the time. When you strip all the bullshit away, people want a deep connection with their own lives and with someone else. Most people won't get it because they're not worthy of it. They don't have deep souls that understand life with its highs and lows. Some guy trying to understand his true nature purely and freely knows the deep intensity of the human condition. This gives him a deep soul that is capable of deep love. Compare that to some guy who was brought up on TV, computers, video games, Disney movies, and junk food, went to college, got a decent job, and never explored anything about his life. He's a caricature of a human being. Where is the intensity and the passion? There are tons of stories of the girl going for the deep soul, like Moulin Rouge. She wants the artist over the rich guy because the artist knows passion, pain, poverty, and loneliness. The rich guy is probably some arrogant superficial guy who bases everything on material wealth. When I was young and living the yuppie lifestyle, I didn't understand why I didn't like the guys at the golf course country club. I intuitively knew they were a bunch of boobs who would stab you in the back if it meant some kind of gain for them, even though on the surface we were all buddy-buddy with each other. I later realized there are a lot of people who never stop and think about what is going on in the world. They never stop to see all the pain and suffering going on all the time. I knew a guy who had a special garage built to house his expensive sports cars. Somebody who is like this misses the entire point of life. It's not about having superficial fun. It's about being accountable to your soul. This is why I will never be in a serious relationship with a fashionable bleach blonde girl who knows more about pop culture celebrities than about what is going on in the world. The most valuable people in the world are the ones who live to be accountable to what they feel within themselves about life and humanity. You cannot get to a deep place of wisdom and enlightenment without suffering, or at least seeing all the suffering out there and trying to do something about it in some way. If you're looking for love, I say you will never find true love with somebody who does not have a deep soul. A noble person tries to be accountable to some kind of idealistic standard within themselves. All these superficial people brainwashed by material excess and celebrity news do not have the ability to love anyone deeply other than themselves. This is the lost society we live in. True, pure love. Everybody deserves to be loved. I feel really good when I'm with her. For most people, almost anybody nice and decent will do. For a few people with deeper, creative personalities, they meet somebody who matches them very closely. They feel really lucky to have met because they know there are very few soulmates for their unique personalities. This is true, pure love, when two creative intellectual types meet and recognize that their connection is aesthetic spiritual. It's not just that they are comfortable with each other. It's nice to feel good being with somebody. The satisfaction of the heart is found in its enjoyment. The only way you know you're in love is if you feel it deep down inside. You feel really good about this other person. It's intangible. Nothing on the planet can explain it. No psychobabble personality trait-based test can possibly match you up with a soulmate. The only thing that can do that is two people who intuitively feel drawn to each other. Love lies buried in the soul until awakened by an object worthy of desire. All the blind dates, computer matching tests, matchmakers, internet chat and friendship dates can't do it for you. You live your life until you come across someone who arouses this desire within you and you within him or her. That's the only true, pure love, which is rare. The fight of life is to stay close to your true nature in the midst of the massive tidal wave of artificial values from the system always attacking you. There are at least 2,000 love books out there and at least 10,000 websites trying to sell you love advice. Where did all this supposed formal love advice come from? It didn't exist 50 years ago. It's all a pile of meaningless crap next to the wisdom in your soul. I'm writing all this stuff here to abide by my code of creating the best love, sex, and romance book ever created, but I don't use any psychobabble advice that I dish out that I probably got from watching a TV show or summarizing an article somewhere, because I'm all intuition when it comes to love and relationships, just like you too if you trusted yourself. Chapter 3. A True Love Guide 1. The True Nature of Love Based on History. The mystery of love is greater than the mystery of death. Oscar Wilde. I didn't marry you because you were perfect. I didn't even marry you because I loved you. I married you because you gave me a promise. That promise made up for your faults. And the promise I gave you made up for mine. Two imperfect people got married and it was the promise that made the marriage. Thornton Wilder, playwright. The above statement probably summarizes why people all throughout history put their trust in another human being and pledged to be true to them for life, because they thought that united, they would each live a better life together, even though they had no past track record or evidence to draw on, which is what marriage is and always has been, taking a chance for a better, happier life together than alone, which is why people in droves have been getting hitched all throughout history. This has been the paradigm throughout history, but recently, because we no longer need each other to survive in the physical sense, I've seen critics come on the scene and bash love based on this kind of commitment. They say it should be more ethereal. We live in a consumeristic, disposable society nowadays, which has rubbed off onto the concept of marriage, what with all the divorces going round, yet most people still enter the institution of marriage with stars in their eyes and a naive faith that together, they will live a happy life with each other. It's this faith in this unspoken promise that's the stuff that all marriages of free will are based on. A golden age of love never existed throughout human history. There was no evolution to something great and grand. In most cultures, it was always an ebb and flow of different forces. Religious political forces don't like the passionate forces of love and lust because it makes people unruly and unmanageable. They like marriage because it settles people down, puts them in a box of needs and makes them predictable consumers, therefore eternal workers to constantly buy the never-ending stream of products their family needs. People themselves don't know what they want, so as a culture they either pursue master-slave relationships, monogamous relationships, sex object relationships, free love relationships, and the cycle is always repeating itself. Societies pursue tight, monogamous-centered family relationships for a while, get bored of it, move into a free love, hedonistic phase, all the while keeping the pretense of family life, then go to classical romance and back to monogamy and family. It never ends. This is how love and sex works on a societal level, like a pendulum going back and forth between family values, romantic love, hedonistic sex, anything goes and never the twain shall meet. In some cultures, love was considered weakness, in others, strength. In days of old, sexual intercourse was the means to achieve the concept known as love. If a man loved a woman, he showed it by supporting her financially and marrying her, assuming that sex would keep them happy and loving over a lifetime. The idea of love was to love the idea of love and not to worry about a friendship beyond that. This is why many of these relationships were unbalanced. People thought they could fall in love with anybody and keep it at that dreamy level without connecting as individuals and befriending each other. Love and passion in this view were easy, friendship was hard, but this is a necessary constituent of permanent love, an intimacy of the minds, two people interested in being with each other and comforting each other, a partnership of souls. We must remember that up until recently, men were allowed to beat their wives in most civilized countries because they were considered superior and the head of the household. In the words of one guy, women are for children and sex. Everything else is my business. Men traditionally think that friendship means doing things together, but it's really a sharing of the deepest thoughts in your mind, your essence, and emotions. Friendship generally means curiosity about the other person, but most men are not curious about women as individuals beyond sex. Passions fade over time. If you can't be friends with your wife, you will either end up divorced or in a loveless marriage. A loving friendship, a companionate marriage, is the art form of romance that society is currently on the precipice of. Love is neither sex or friendship, it's caught somewhere between the two. You can be a great friend, which translates into no passion if you cross a certain line of mystique to become overly familiar. Romance needs a bit of distance, anticipation, wonderful bewilderment, fascination, fantasy, idealization, which is not possible if you're casual buds with each other. All in all, if you look at the concept of love throughout history, you will see two widely differing viewpoints that could be explained in terms of male-female gender differences. The primal chauvinistic view is that love is just a fancy word for sex. It's really all about sex and controlling or charming the people you want to have sex with enough to get it from them, hopefully willingly without alluding to force. The romantic, divine sacred view that human beings are born incomplete, that the search for love is the attempt, need and longing within oneself to find a union with another soul that fulfills the spiritual, emotional, physical, and sexual needs we all have. Even though the quest for love can be a painful experience with all the imposters with ulterior motives and all the hardship and tragedy of life in general, the beauty and sweetness of it, once you find it, is worth the struggle to get there. The search for love or the proving of one's love for another can drive people to do powerful things, even though the critics argue that love is largely a frenetic illusion willingly engaged in by the two participants, i.e., two people with different fantasies of who their lover is, how their lovers perceive them, and what the relationship is really all about. Nevertheless, practically everybody dreams about perfect idealistic love. Most people engage in lower versions of it, and a few lucky ones get to experience true, pure love for at least a season here and there, while some rare ones are lucky enough to get it and keep it over the duration of a lifetime. Romantic love is the ideal of a platonic friendship of two same-sex people loyal to each other, only it's more frenzied, intense, and passionate, filled with sex and romance, which is what people all throughout history wanted in love. The true nature of love. Love is loving someone as who they are without judgments. Love is trust. Get love by giving love. When it comes to love, we're all in the dark. Alfred Kinsey. To be loved, give your love away. Man has always been the leader in society who often thought sex and love were one-dimensional activities done to give him a thrill with no forethought of the woman's pleasure, but virtually every sex manual ever written, such as Chang Tsung's The Art of the Bedchamber, the Kama Sutra by ascetic celibate Vatsyayana, the Harlot's Breviary by K. Shimendra, 990-1065, and Kafka's The Mysteries of Passion, 1060-1215, as well as the great lovers in history, all emphasized the importance of paying attention to women's desires. All throughout history, literary pornography was around, which focused on conquest, domination, submission, and degradation, but every half-decent love and sex manual right on into the current era all focus on being pleasant and romantic in trying to please the female lover. Along with this is what ancient Taoists called the simple and joyous art of living, which is a plug for the aesthetic lifestyle, to live for the beauty, art, and inspiration of life and not get caught up with all the business of the world out there, nor get caught up in the achievement emphasis of reaching orgasm. They preach, rather, to take a love-making session to wherever it will go naturally without worrying about trying to score all the time. There are writings from ancient times of sheikhs in Arabia who owned harems of women and could do anything they wanted with them, but still felt there was something beyond their reach with women they desired that they could not buy, own, or order. It was passion and love, unattainable if both parties don't feel it instinctively, which was too bad, because for a time love was considered weakness, so the best men could hope for in these ancient cultures was sex, and they had to live without affection, as described by Abul Farag al-Isfahani's The Book of Stories around 950 AD. It took a man with a new attitude to write about it to start changing the world to a new era of love beyond conquest and sex. Ibn Hazm of Cordova, 994-1064, wrote The Ring of the Dove, a treatise on love, which for the first time in modern European Asian history said that love was good. Love renews life, makes hardened people softer, callous ones polite, stupid ones wise, turns losers into winners, the magical elixir that could transform everyone, the greatest hope and joy in the world, and sexual intercourse completes the circuit and allows the current of love to flow freely into the soul. His major concept was that we, as people, can use love to bring ourselves as individuals up to higher levels of self-understanding and insight into our lives. To want to understand the soul of a woman and play with her freely became the ideal of love, according to Ibn Dud and his Islamic cult of Zahirites. As long as there were arranged marriages or men choose who they wed without any input from the woman, the institution of love in marriage was in the Dark Ages. When women started demanding that the man prove his love, sensibilities, and charms to them before marriage, men lost control of the courtship process and either had to put up or shut up. In the book The Young Wife by William Alcott in 1833, he states that both are insecure going into a marriage, and the man doesn't want to reveal who he really is, partially because he has to keep a certain face for the world in his work, but this is the universal game of love, that you must open yourself up to your lover. Men are traditionally motivated to be successful out in the world of work, women want men to work less, love more, and women always get insecure and misinterpret the man's obsession with work as a sign that he doesn't love them anymore. These are the universal conflicts of love that haven't changed much since women started having some say in the game of love. In essence, there are two broad categories of the nature of love, the old nature-nurture controversy, and there's no one universal truth. It's a combination of biology and culture. The society you grow up in. People like me try to minimize our cultural indoctrination and live as purely as the way we feel within ourselves without violating others' people's rights. This has made me monogamous and sex addict all in one, kinda like King Solomon of old. There are no easy answers, but I will promise I will try to be as honest as any human being can be in describing my true thoughts throughout this book, rather than just regurgitating the current psychobabble of the day. What is love? How do I know? There are many lower-order reasons why people could pair up, like for money, status, social convention, insecurity, weak sense of identity, need a protector, arranged marriages, etc. But the following few characteristics are generally the only universal agreed upon tenets of true, pure love. You choose to love each other actively every day. This is called commitment. You believe in the power of love. You open yourself up freely with abandon to your lover even if it makes you look soppy and foolish sometimes. Thoughts, feelings, and lives are shared mutually by the lovers. A strong primal and spiritual attraction of desirability that can't be explained. It's a feeling of love. The love is natural, it's not a forced act of will. It's like a magnetic feeling of instinct. You feel lucky to have this other person in your life. A desire to make your lover's happiness a part of your happiness as a natural instinct of caring and concern, not a forced kind of niceness. You love her so much that you're willing to change somewhat to suit her. The discovery of a higher beauty and virtue as a result of the relationship. You feel good in the company of your lover. Your lover makes you feel good by your very thought of her. You want to be good friends with an intellectual, emotional, spiritual meeting of the minds. Through all the tears and fears of life, you still choose to be together. You want to give of love freely to one another. You want to be kind and gentle to each other. You want to look attractive in a sexual, aesthetic way. You want to be great in bed. You share easy times and laughs together. You forgive and forget. A sense of chivalry and trust that goes beyond all legal laws and traditional conventions. You want to see your lover as the real human being he or she is, not the fantasies you project onto him or her. You feel lonely if you're separated from them by any length of time. True lovers sacrifice all other allegiances, country, relatives, friends, government, religion, etc., for their allegiance to each other as a distinct unit in society. They stand a little apart from everything else in society as a unique entity loyal exclusively to one another. Great couples are great lovers and friends both at the same time. Children are not the necessary end result of romantic love as the Catholics and many other cultures would have us believe. Be fruitful and multiply. Many couples choose to live in love with each other without having children and live great, fulfilled, loving lives. Unconditional love. If you want someone to love you, you have to love them first. Unconditional love is something virtually all of us aspire to, not necessarily to give it, since I believe most of us are self-centered underneath our nice exteriors, but to get it, to be loved, adored, honored, worshipped, respected by someone in the same way that maybe your mother loved you because she created you, although there are plenty of mothers who don't really love their kids. You know how much you love yourself. You would like somebody to love you like that, but it won't happen unless you can love them like they love themselves too. A faithful pet is commonly a good example of unconditional love, like the dog who loves his master above all else no matter what. Unconditional love means you love someone or some animal with no strings attached, no conditions involved. Even if they disappoint you greatly, you still love them. One of the few places you find unconditional love is through the religions and mythologies of the world. God the Father loves his people no matter what. The Father took the prodigal son back after his wild ride that led to self-destruction. Forgive not 7 times, nor 7 times 7, but 7 times 7 times 7. In traditional love stories, what you often see is fiery, youthful, passionate love stories that barely have time to get to the unconditional love part of a relationship because they're all about getting the girl/guy or getting married. Then they end without revealing what happens in the true test of love, which is simply time. Time will tell every time. Most people in relationships will get on each other's nerves, play ego games, start to feel they're putting more into it than getting out of it. One will feel neglected, one will flirt with others, the 7-year itch, the midlife crisis, etc. None of this is unconditional love, yet this is what most relationships degenerate into, which confirms my belief that most people who marry are not really in love with each other in the purest sense of the word. True love is very rare. Most people have a percentage of true love, 50 to 80% when it's good and below 50 when it's bad. For the few people that have true love, it's a knowing within each of them. They don't have to dance around like performing monkeys for each other to prove their love to each other all the time. In the real world, most people are insecure about their loves. They're afraid that their spouse will leave on a dime when he gets tired of her petty rantings, her weight gain, or he meets that new young girl at work. This is all conditional love. None of it qualifies as true love. To me, it comes down to honor. I honor you because I know you're a high-quality person trying for what's good in life for yourself, for the people you love, and for the spirit of humanity in general. That's who you are in your soul, that's why I love you. Nothing will ever change that. If you get sick, go wayward, lose your way or something like that, I will still have that core belief that you are your soul, that you might be a fallible human being with human failings, but underneath it all, you can't hide from who you are, you can't change it. That's why I love you. You're a modest, unassuming, good, beautiful, uplifting person being yourself the way you were born, which is why I love you, because you are yourself without the pretenses society tried to indoctrinate you with about being large and in charge, glamorous, bubbly, arrogant, and all that other phony frivolous crap out there. Soulmate love is a spiritual, sacred union of unconditional love between two people. You feel like you've always known each other, you're comfortable with each other. Women are taught to desire to be swept away, to be taken care of by some guy, which is why they give themselves over to them sexually once the romance starts. They want that feeling of unconditional love so much that they revert to being the helpless baby who the man must now love unconditionally if he's to fulfill his role as a real man. God has unconditional love for his people. He loves you for who you are as is. Several passages in the Bible say love God first, then your family. If I were to extrapolate on God's love for his people, I'd say you should love your spouse like God loves his people, love her for who she is, not for what she does or looks like. Love her for her essence as a human being, not because she's a centerfold, beauty contest winner, a fashionable chick, etc. In almost all of Western and romantic love around the world, the love is conditional on your perception of the idealized beauty of the other person. Once this is gone with aging, it flips a switch inside which changes dramatically to animosity, but true love has no conditions. It doesn't matter how the person looks or even what they've done, you still love them regardless. Very few cultures throughout all of past history had this concept of strong unconditional love. When you peel away all the current propaganda through movies and TV about how romantic past love was in history, what you often see is a pragmatic agreement between a man and a woman to provide the goods in exchange for housework and sex. You're both God's creations. True love is like God's love for you. You each love the higher, spiritual God part of each other. Ecstasy is touching the higher limits of love made possible by your all-loving God who created you. He put a piece of his essence into each of you, which is pure, unconditional love. So connecting with that God part in your soul in your love for your lover is simply to release this unconditional, godly supreme love you have locked away in the potential of your deepest essence. It's there in everyone. Whether you're free and brave enough to use it with another human being is another story. Many people are too self-conscious and fearful about it. They can love their pets unconditionally with warmth and affection quite easily, but when it comes to showing true love to another human being, most stop short because they're afraid they might look like soppy fools, it might not be reciprocated, or simply be too much work, so they hold back. And unfortunately, in my opinion, this is the way most love affairs work, at some half-baked limited potential, because the players are too afraid to open it up fully to be themselves freely. iloveyoulove.com. Long-term relationship /LTR. Love someone who loves you back, love each other and make love all the time. I need emotional closeness. So does he. For all you've lost, you never lost that, your ability to love. The cardinal, near the end, the thorn birds. God be thanked. The meanest of his creatures boasts two soul sides, one to face the world with, one to show a woman when he loves her. Robert Browning. If you can be loving even when you don't feel like it, you're a rare prize. It's alright to be single and live a fulfilled life by yourself, contrary to what the current love psychobablists, The pop culture messages of society and your friends and family around you are always saying about love being the necessary elixir and solution to a happy and fulfilled life, but this isn't necessarily true for most of us who won't be happy unless we're in a perfect loving relationship that lasts a lifetime, and they're very rare. It's not something you can look for like hang out at singles bars looking for a hero. It's something you do within yourself to reach your own destiny as an individual. Then when you feel reasonably satisfied, you make a conscious effort to want love, to have the right intention about it, to want it with loyalty, passion, and purity, so you continue living your life nobly, keeping an eye out until you come across a soulmate where you both know you're connected by some mysterious, irresistible force. Destiny has its own schedule. Love just happens. It can't be planned. You can maximize your chances by circulating around lots of people, but unless you have a certain amount of satisfied living as an individual, know for sure that you want love for the right, pure reasons, and your prospective partner is the same way, you won't get true love. You might get into a relationship and think it's love, but if it doesn't have this combination of two individuals quite happy by themselves as singles who want love for its own sake, it won't be the highest form of love you can get, so it will either end at some point in time or just sputter on in mundane eternity. The precursor for long-term love is an instantaneous spark of recognition that you've just spotted a soulmate and they feel the same about you, coupled with a commitment to help each other unfold your potentials as individuals as well as lovers. Your true lover challenges and encourages you to a fuller, freer way of being yourself. Within the mysterious cosmic forces of the universe, we have souls that may have lived past lives or may have not, but the fact is that these souls contain archetypes that tell us to be who we are through our inner voices. Think of romantic love as that inner voice telling you that you've just spotted your long-lost love from somewhere in your soul that you've mourned for on some level, either conscious or subconscious, as the missing piece that will complete your life and you hers. We're attracted to people who are mirrors of ourselves, who are like us. True love is to see your lover and be seen by him or her exactly as you really are, not the phony glittery front you put on for the world. It's to be able to look into each other's eyes longingly with love. Long-term love is being with a spiritual friend. A friend wants what's best for you, not just what's best for themselves. They love you, want to be with you, and want what's best for you, that you do what you want as an individual to find happiness within yourself. A great relationship is based on physical attraction, sexual compatibility, mutual support, affection, companionship, friendship, devotion, loyalty, respect, patience, forgiveness, and love. Long-term love is an equal relationship with open, honest communication, sensitivity, and accepting your feelings for each other. It's not based on materialism. It's moments of connection between lovers where they appreciate being with each other. This is what to shoot for. Soulmate love is sharing your life with someone and supporting each other both for your individual quests and for your shared vision as a couple. It's acceptance without judgment, culturing the love between you all the time. Tread lightly with your partner. Try to listen to them all the time, to act like you're interested in him or her in order to keep the channels open and on the same page. Seek the path of your soul to find yourself and the path of love to share yourself. Seek both of them to find all the goodness in life as you can. I'm not necessarily talking about the material, capitalist definitions of love which societal forces are trying to thrust on you, namely to be attracted to someone based on their pop culture trendiness and material worth in the world. I'm talking about a strong human, emotional connection. The contented heart is to take your individuality as far as you can, then just before you feel cut off from the rest of the world by your own self-absorbed interests, find your strength in love. As the old George Benson song goes, the greatest love of all. Surrender to the relationship. Give up some of your self-centered nature to make it work. It takes commitment, sometimes doing things you don't particularly want to do for the sanctity of the relationship. Long-term love is being allies, courageously continuously giving of yourself to each other. It's a mixture of independence and love of self to share your life with affection and an open heart. Long-term love websites. catchhighmandkeyfim.com, soswab.com/articles/longtermrelationship.htm, fueling-o.com/pua-definition/long-term-relationship-ltr. lovesestems.com/dating-advice/terminology/ltr-long-term-relationship. Powerful-connections.com. Chapter 4. A True Love Guide to Esoteric Love. Love is weird. 36-year-old divorced male. There are no ambitions noble enough to justify breaking someone's heart. Cardinal Ralph, the Thornbirds. You build walls in order to keep from getting hurt. You get hurt when you give love and don't get it back. When your heart is broken/betrayed, you have to learn to trust again if you want to love and be loved. You have to heal yourself. You can't blame the rest of the world because it's made up of good and bad. That will always be the case, but the problem is within you. Listen to your intuition when dealing with people in the quest for love. Many of us are so love-starved that when we meet someone who shows interest in us, even if he's a charming con artist, we ignore the red flags we feel because we want it to work so badly that we delude ourselves into thinking it's love when it's considerably less. Listen to your inner voice. Don't be paranoid, but if you come across a guy who acts like he loves you but you feel that he doesn't, don't betray yourself. Cut it off, otherwise you're setting yourself up for another hurt. A true lover will love you, not hurt you, so it should be fairly easy to pick him out because he always wants what's best for you, but anything less will be a sometimes selfish guy who will try to make you feel guilty for not living up to his desires. Constantly renew your loving relationship through open communication and fun, otherwise you will lose it. Enlightenment is to feel you control your life and the world around you through your actions and thoughts, not feeling that the world is an entity coming at you that you have to react to. When you enter a new, loving relationship, thank all the people from your past symbolically in your mind, even those who treated you badly, for teaching you enough about life and love to get you to this mature, stable point you're at now. Then cleanse them all away and start as a spiritual virgin with your new love, so there's no baggage there possibly sabotaging the relationship, repeating old patterns. There are seasons to relationships. Young love is easy, the first part of your relationship like springtime, sowing new possibilities. Then it turns to summer when it gets too hot and muggy and drags into a few long drawn-out dog days of turbulence where you might want to get out, but if you hang on as true lovers do, through the thick and thin, you will soon move into the autumn of your relationship where the tension will cool down and you will be comfortable together. Winter is the cold, barren wasteland which is a hardship that many people aren't prepared for. Serious difficulty in the relationship where you're questioning whether it's worth staying, but if you try real hard to be loving at this time, spring will come around in due time, the love will reassert itself and you will realize you have a prized relationship there. This is where most people fail. They get out when the going gets tough, but a true love is to not be dependent only on your feelings but to be loyal and unconditional, such that when you don't feel so loving, you act like you do anyway, and in due time the cycle swings around and you should get that loving feeling back. This is the way virtually all relationships work, even the great ones. They have times when they don't feel so loving towards each other, but if they hang on and keep at it, they find each other in love all over again. Great loves are not relationships where you're inseparably close, but relationships where you're close but keep your differences and individuality too. Freedom is great, but if you're too absorbed with yourself, you can't be loving. A great love will free you to get beyond narcissism, to balance yourself by adding another person into your self-centered world. To work at a relationship is to work on yourself. Where you are as an individual is a mirror of your love life. If you're not happy with yourself, you can't be loving. Give your lover what he or she needs emotionally. Love reflects how you relate to everything. Passion in life and passion in love are the same things. It's your global energy or lack thereof to either live an inspired life or live a dull, mundane one. Great lovers have a great mutual respect for one another, are able to laugh together and look for someone who can stand their idiosyncrasies. One couple bought a duplex, each took one unit so that they live in separate apartments to maintain the marriage. The morale is give each other space. Live a happy life and you will be a great lover if that's the path you choose to take. Although you can be happy and choose to be single, most of our current self-help love gurus seem to imply that romantic love is necessarily the only crowning glory of life, but it's really not true. Romantic love is great for those that want it and are ready for it, but not particularly necessary to live a great life. Plenty of people are happily single, pursuing activities that inspire and fulfill them and pursuing the various facets of hedonism to get their happiness, and there's nothing wrong with that. Love is fine if that's what you want and are willing to work at it, but it's not necessary in order to live a happy, fulfilled life. Swan love in people. Read this bit from this article. timesonline.co/toll/life_and_life_style/women/relationship/article 5439805.es. Scientists discover true love. Brain scans have proved that a small number of couples can respond with as much passion after 20 years as most people exhibit only in the first flush of love. Researchers nicknamed the couples swans because they have similar mental love maps to animals that mate for life, such as swans. cbl.orkine.net/swanprincess/story.htm, Everlasting Vow, the story of the Swan Princess. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/the_swan_princess. Love, sex, and pleasure, what is the greater purpose? Great sex is not great intimacy. It can be if two people love each other. Nowadays sex is getting more impersonal with all the porn, sex toys and sex media around, but at the same time the dating websites are doing a brisk business. Let's say you masturbate 5 times a day with the best porn and best sex toys. You hire hookers and have sex with people from casual sex dating websites. Is this enough, or do you need some X-factor feeling of love and intimacy? You can love a pet. Is that enough? All I know for sure is that society does a great job convincing us that we will never be happy unless we're in an ideal, loving monogamous relationship. Most people have unrealistic expectations of what they want in a mate and what a relationship will give them. People harden with age. They don't soften up. They get cynical. It's harder to find a deep kind of love. What about human being alone? You answering to some strong inner voice given to you by your God about how to live and what to do? Should that take precedence over the pursuit of a loving relationship? What about all the poor people of the world worried about basic survival? How important is an intimate relationship to them? What about hedonism, constantly being entertained for pleasure without looking for a loving relationship? What do you do when your relationship is less than the ideal one you think you deserve? Do you dump him and look for the next one? When do you bail? If 20 good years is followed by a crisis where your husband turns to drugs, do you leave him? If a relationship can go bust or your lover can die in the twinkle of an eye, why invest so much in something that can be taken away in a second? Is there anything higher in life than the quest for an equal monogamous relationship with high passion? Life is complicated. Relationships are complicated. At what point is a relationship more a liability for you than the pleasure it brings you? Why do we dump our frustrations on our loved ones with anger when we supposedly love them? Why is it that you can have a deep intimate evening together, then 3 days later it's like you're in different universes? Why do many people feel deficient about being single? The best thing you can do is to be kind or at least neutral to all people and don't lead anyone on. Can you be happy just being you in your true nature, or do you need human intimate contact? Do you care about other people? What are you willing to sacrifice of yourself to help them if necessary? There is ample tragedy every day for a kind-hearted person to constantly be trying to alleviate it. Is this where it's at? What is freedom? How do you achieve that sensation? To me, the best I can do is be neutral most of the time and be kind when I feel like it. I was raised in the most narcissistic, self-centered society ever. I don't even watch the news anymore because there is too much tragedy. I don't want to see it, much less dedicate my life to helping people in tragedies. Is the golden rule to make people feel like I'm not a threat when I'm around them, to have basic respect for them no matter what? Is that the best to expect from a reasonable self-centered person? Be a stellar human being in life and love one Anybody who knows me knows I regularly slam the psychobabble, self-help industry with all their one-liners that amount to less wisdom than there is in the book of Proverbs written 2,500 years ago, because you are a holistic engine called your soul or your essence. One-liners or steps and stages can't help you much, because at heart, you are who you were born as. You can't change your true nature. All the one-liner strategies and stages all those psychobablists have ever written will fade away after 3 days, because you always go back to who you really are by your nature, whether you are consciously aware of it or not. I discovered that I live by a natural, intuitive standard that predisposes me to feel that I must release a certain amount of inspired aesthetic loving energy every day in order to do justice to the human being I want to be. That's the code I live by. Sometimes when I'm at the library, I drop by the psychobabble, self-help section, which is at number 158, hashtag 306.7, love, relationships, or BF 500-700, and pick up a few books looking to see if anyone has become as enlightened as I am yet, or are they still spewing off their X number of disjointed one-liners about how to be happy, successful, fabulous, loving, glorious, etc. It's all meaningless to me, since I live by an internal code that tells me everything I need to know and do, but it's still a minor exercise in inspiration and aesthetics for me that stimulates my mind to write cheesy articles like this that summarize a bunch of these one-liner points from my own point of view. I went through the titles in the table of contents section of 4 self-help books, and whenever the title inspired an idea within me, I wrote it out. I never read the books, just read the table of contents, so this article is a mix of my own ideas with classical, cheesy psychobabble, all to help make you a superhuman being and a super-duper lover. It reminds of what a buddy of mine did about 20 years ago, before either of us were enlightened. We were positive, inspired people, but we didn't know who we really were then. Whenever I went up to his place, I'd see a bunch of one-liners about setting goals and positive power plastered all over his mirror and his fridge. You might think this helps you, but it's really band-aids on the bigger problem, knowing exactly who you are and living to honor it. That's all you really need to know. All the psychobabble in the world fades next to knowing this and making the effort to honor it every day with a joy in your heart for having the ability and the opportunity to pursue becoming the person you were born to be, i.e., be thankful for who you are, because that's who you'll be on your deathbed. The only question will be whether you honored this essence given to you at your birth. Be a morally good person. Don't interfere with other people's lives unless they invite you in. Be a positive, upbeat person. Nobody really wants to be around miserable people. Everybody's got a sob story. Keep it to yourself. Set goals and work on them little by little, day by day. Don't let yourself get brainwashed by the world. Listen to yourself. Follow your own soul. Don't strive to make it out in the world according to world standards. Live by your own standards. There is really no such thing as you changing. Enlightenment is to find your true essence, then honor it. That's it. Your consciousness shouldn't change after that. You can tell somebody is unenlightened in a flash if they talk about how they're changing or they've changed somehow. The highest you can go is to find your true self, then live by it, and that's it. Clouds have silver linings. Learn from the tough, negative events in your life. You live alone in your mind. You and only you create how you think, the attitude you live by. Fear and worry are things only low-level, unenlightened people do. I deal with the here and now, in the moment, and that's about it. The past is gone, so I don't bother thinking about it. The future isn't here yet, so I don't think about it. Be a stellar human being in life and love too. It's natural to love yourself, but society has made it seem negative and selfish. I feel that the best lovers are people who love their lives so much that they sincerely want to share them with others, as opposed to people looking for relationships to fill some emptiness inside of them. Don't take anyone too seriously, not me, not your local priest, the philosophy teacher, some psychobablist on TV. Play along with everybody, but trust only yourself. Some people mildly inspire me, but I have yet to meet anyone since I got enlightened who can teach me anything about my life that I don't already know. It's not about this new age crap about willing it so or wishing for it and the universe will give it to you. It's about being active, creating your own life as opposed to passively wishing for it and waiting for someone to bring it to you. Try to be loving or positive. If you can't do that, be neutral, leave people alone as opposed to being negative or taunting. Be thankful for what you got. Be patient. After all, you'll be stuck in the same mind and the same consciousness for the rest of your life regardless of what you get or don't get here on earth. Trust your intuition. Use it. Release your natural inspired energy every day. Strive to feel good, to be happy. I achieve this by constantly releasing a good dose of my natural inspired aesthetic energy. You get what you want in business by helping others get what they want. If you're ever feeling down, volunteer at a homeless shelter or to help patients in a cancer ward for a while. Most of our problems are nothing next to people with real problems. I'm thankful for my health. Don't concern yourself with how other people live. It breeds envy. Don't watch those entertainment tabloid shows on TV. They're geared to make you feel envious of these people so that you buy into the lie that they're living better lives than you, then buy the crap they advertise to try to imitate this delusion to bring yourself up a notch. If you're enlightened and honor yourself, the grass is not greener anywhere. Don't be materialistic. Beyond the basics, life is in what you do, not what you own. All the home decor crap in the world can't come close to the spiritual aesthetic sensations I get when I go out for my long daily run. After that, I could care less what trinkets there are or aren't in my house. Your grudges over other people are toxic to you too. Let go. Forget about them. Life is not fair. Everybody's got a sob story. So what? Take your licks and keep moving. You can always visit that cancer ward and see who's really suffering. I expect nothing but a free day where I do what I want within reason. I can't think of anything higher than this from all the stuff they're always advertising at me to buy. Don't be neurotic about the standards of the world. Live by your own standard but enjoy your life at the same time. Don't be like the tortured artist who is desperate to create his vision of perfection or the buttoned-up career girl intent on making it in a man's world so much that she loses her personality. In the end, nobody really cares. They're all living in their own heads. All that matters is what you think. Nobody likes an incessant talker, a braggart, a smartapants with a sarcastic mouth or a know-it-all. Keep your mouth shut or talk quietly with few words. Never give unsolicited advice. People just resent you for thinking you're so superior to them, at least that's what they think you're thinking. You can only live one day at a time. Don't look out there for a person or something like money and stuff to make you happy. If you find happiness, this is what attracts potential lovers to you, but you have to be happy to be attractive to them in the first place. Don't play the woe is me victim. I can see that every day on the TV talk shows, but I don't watch them because I think they're pathetic and cause a negative effect on our society, all these wimps complaining about their lives. You can't make other people happy. You can only help them by being kind to a certain point. They have to do the rest themselves. Be a stellar human being in life and love. 3. When in doubt, be kind and compassionate. I achieve happiness by purging all my natural energy every day and making this the goal of my life. Keep releasing that energy every day without ever stopping. This is my purpose. People with this sense of purpose to unleash whatever is inside of them are much happier than your average, pop culture, capitalist clone watching TV, eating junk food. Love goes from the inside out. Discover who you are, shine this light onto the world. Be a positive force. Help people and you'll get the love back multiplied. Don't get so caught up in making it that you forget to smell the roses. If you love what you do, it's not work. It's fun. If you're feeling down, rest. Get a good night's sleep. We were created to do physical activity. You can't be sad or stressed when you're fully engaged in some manner of physical motion. Happiness is peace of mind. Be true to the conscience your God endowed you with. In my opinion, the more you fill yourself up with pop culture capitalism and the less you strive to live an inspired, original life for yourself, the worse off you'll be. Try not to fight. If you're with an arguer, get rid of them. If it's a relative, try to minimize contact with them. Be kind to your loved ones. Respect them. Do little things for them every day. Don't live in fairy tales or delusions. Live in the real world. Do some activity with your spouse and kids almost every day to bond with them. Don't be fake to others. Be the real you. It's soul over image. Money can be a headache, which is why I have few needs. My expenses are tiny compared to most other people. I will never own a cell phone despite all the cell phone commercials I see on TV all the time. Don't assume. People can't read minds. Tell them what's on yours rather than silently fuming about it. Go easy on addictions. They signal that you're not in harmony with yourself. It's better to have peace than to try to win at all costs. Be easygoing and lighthearted. Try to be friends with the people you deal with all the time. Try to get along with everybody. Watch less TV. Spend more time culturing the original, inspired and beautiful you. It's okay to agree to disagree and still be friends. I hear a certain radio talk show host disagree with all kinds of people, but they still remain friends because he keeps having them back on his show on the X Zone. People like people who are open but not too open to the point of embarrassment. People would rather know what you're thinking by talking to you than have you quietly in the corner all by yourself, because then they don't know where your head is at. Are you thinking of killing them or are you happy as is? They don't know unless you talk to them. If you claim to love someone, you have to show them day by day. Letting it be is not good enough. It shows ambivalence. Give a little bit in relations with people. You have to compromise sometimes. When you're tired, go to sleep. Don't stay up feeling miserable. Take care of your grooming. Wear clean clothes. Live in the present, not the past nor the future. Don't burden people with your problems. Don't keep secrets from loved ones. Tell the truth, otherwise get out of it. We're only human. Overlook minor faults in others. Jesus said, "Let him who has not sinned cast the first stone." Don't be too critical. If you want to do something, don't wait. A long journey starts with one footstep. Don't procrastinate. Listen to music. It's good for the soul. Be loyal to your friends and loved ones. Expect the intensity of romantic love to fade. Replace it with kindness, caring and loyalty, that is, if your partner is worth it to you. If not, get out. Don't listen to gossip or be a busybody. Watch your loved ones. Be sensitive enough to pick up on when they're angry at you or feeling blue, then subtly do your bit to solve the problem. Talk out your problems. Apologize when you're wrong. Respect yourself. Respect others. Love the one you're with, otherwise get out of there. Don't hang around with people you don't love, including your spouse. Get a divorce. It's the best way to go for an unhappy relationship. Cooperation is better than competition. Show your love to your loved ones. Always look on the bright side. Let go of archaic traditions that don't help make you feel good. Don't compare yourself to others. See it from the other guy's point of view. Walk a mile in their shoes. Be a stellar human being in life and love for. How far does hate going in destroying people's lives? How do stay inspired and happy every day? Why do human beings insist on comparing themselves to others and playing own-upmanship games like I'm better than you, even two mates in within a marriage? Which is more important, you as a spouse or you as a parent? Does one suffer for the other? They both need kindness, patience, tolerance, and devotion from within yourself. It's hard to control your emotions, especially when you're angry. It's hard to be loving to the people you love. It's hard to forgive. It's hard to accept people for their faults even while you have a log in your eye. Why are we so judgmental? Who are all these phony experts walking around, claiming they have the answers in life and love through psychobabble? Is it just another con of a controlling society where we need to give the formal establishment the power to pretend they have advanced wisdom that they can make money from? What does some asshole taught something out of dry textbooks know that is deep and advanced about the human condition? Most of those therapists are hiding behind the bullshit they were taught in school, which is low-level stuff next to what's in your soul. Believe in yourself. Listen to yourself. Your God put all the wisdom in the universe into your soul when he created you. Don't let people snow you. If your lover is consistently bad, then promises to change but never does, it's better to be single than in a horrible relationship. Don't allow your heart to go cold. It's easy to do because there is so much pain in the world that we shut off empathy. There is joy and sorrow in life. Accept what happens. Try to be more positive than negative. Don't live in fairy tales. Be real. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Everybody claims to have good intentions, yet most people are unhappy. Don't buy into New Age delusional crap about a law of attraction. Life is at least part random luck and tragedy. Both of these things will hit you at some point in time. Can you be kind and empathetic with strangers? Don't set a lofty ideal about changing the world. Just try to be a good person who doesn't cause pain to others. This above all, love one another. Jesus. Do no harm, do good. Wish for others what you would wish for yourself. Mohammed. See all beings in your own self and your own self in all beings. Isa Upanishad. Fill the world with boundless love. Buddha. My religion is kindness. Dalai Lama. If you want true love, the only way you're ever going to get it is by being loving first. Be smart enough to not get used and exploited, but other than that, be good, kind and open. How can you be an independent thinker with your own meaning in life who has not bought into any propaganda from the world? What gives you joy in life? Do it every day. If I had all the answers, why would I waste my time writing this book? I believe the human being is so emotional that our moods sway here and there even if we're stable and have strong identities. I know I have to keep releasing most of my natural energy every day if I'm going to feel anywhere from good to great. That's my pact with my life. It might not be your answer, but at least try to figure it out for yourself, set some ground rules and don't be neurotic about anything, even relationships. Live fearlessly. Don't be afraid to live by your true nature. Chapter 5. Different kinds of love / different intensities of love. Plato Symposium. Plato Symposium is the earliest in-depth treatise I could find on the concept of love among people. It's a fictional story / play with 7 friends sitting around a banquet table singing their praises to the goddess of love, Eros. The concept of love is summarily dissected by each of them. Phaedrus, the first speaker, believes that love is what takes men beyond their base primal instincts to think high thoughts, do noble deeds and occasionally sacrifice themselves for their lovers. He says, love is the venerable and valuable of the gods and has sovereign power to provide all virtue and happiness for men whether living or departed. Pausanias defines 2 types of love which are both good. Heavenly love, love of the soul. Earthly love, love of the body. The physician Eryximachus agrees that there are 2 types of love, but he believes we all have the lusty, lower order of love within us and the higher order noble kind of love for beauty, dignity and grace, and the challenge of life is to confront the 2, harmonize them within yourself and end up with your noble side as master of your carnal side. Aristophanes went back to the original myth about man's creation, saying we were once a 2-headed, 8-limbed being, 4 legs, 4 arms, male, female and androgynous all in one, who angered the gods and threatened their power such that they split us in 2, man and woman, such that we now harbor the subconscious need to reunite back with our former original self. Hence the concept of love is a desire to merge back to who you were, to be whole again. Agathon describes love as the force that makes order out of chaos by bringing like-minded souls together. According to him, love has several characteristics. Love is soft because it lives in the heart. Love is temperate because temperance is superior to pleasure. Love is master over pleasure. Love is an equalizer because everybody wants it. Love is intense because many people will do extreme things to get it. Love is brave because even the toughest soldiers fall prey to it. Love is wise because it makes poets out of all of us. According to Agathon, love inspires kindness and gentleness, turns away hate and anger, makes people good, gives them hope and is the key to happiness. He says, love is the father of luxury, tenderness, elegance, grace, desire, and yearning, regardless of the good, regardless of the bad. Love casts its spell on all souls and everybody follows at one time or another. Socrates doesn't take as nearly an optimistic view as Agathon does about love. According to him, love is the pursuit of the beautiful, a desire for something we don't have. Socrates got the wisdom from the mythical prophet Diotima, who said to him that love is neither good or evil but a daemon, a spiritual intermediary between man on earth and his attempt to reach the gods in heaven. He can't quite get there because of his human limits, but at least love gives him wisps of divine pleasure and divine existence. Socrates says love is the child of plenty and poverty, which goes back to Plato's theme at the beginning of the novel that love is always a mixture of good and evil, your higher noble and lower primal instincts. It can make you do all things in an unpredictable manner, but he ends it by saying that wisdom is a beautiful thing and love is of the beautiful, therefore the lover is also a philosopher or lover of wisdom, because it all comes down to living for the beauty of life. Love is a desire to taste the transcendent nature of beauty, which is the immortality and divine nature of the gods. Human beings are mortal and of the flesh. Through the love of another person, we try to capture something timeless and immortal, which we try to perpetuate by bringing children into the world. A still higher stage of love is when your love of one transfers to the love of all that is beautiful, such that you become a universal lover of all beauty everywhere, physical beauty, the beauty of people's souls, the beauty of nature, life on earth, all that is beautiful that man has wrought, and the spiritual side of life, which is all beautiful. Types of love / kinds of love. The Greeks defined several types of love, with the major two being eros for passionate carnal love and agape for unconditional intimate, romantic personal, fellowship love. Plato saw love as the appreciation of beauty, a kind of artistic view from which the term Platonic love is derived, a non-sexual, intellectual appreciation of beauty for its own sake. Love is a mental attitude, not just infatuation but a relationship with substance. It's not just romance, but it induces and promotes romance in its truest meaning. It's not just an instinctive desire for reproduction. It's certainly not just sexual desire, even though it will express itself through the sexual union between a man and a woman. According to Greek archetypes in mythology, there are about 8 types of love. Agape. The unconditional side, that you will love someone regardless of what happens, like in sickness and health, an unselfish concern for the beloved. Think of it as the love you have for your God transferred onto a person, you love them no matter what. Lust. The physical, passionate side that could be roller coaster manic. Eros. The romantic side of love, when you feel tingly and gooey about someone. Called men in German, it means ecstatic love between a man and a woman. Mania. Intense love like Eros but with a jealous moody tinge. Storge. Family, caring, feel comfortable love. Pragma. Derived from the word pragmatic, realistic day-to-day love, like helping her with the dishes or driving the family around. Philia. True friendship, stability, warmth, and affection over time. Ludus. Flirtation, fun, friskiness, love as playing. Some other types of love are: puppy love. Young love that can be very intense, very real, but underneath it all, naive and will change as the players mature. Crush. Passive love affair where he doesn't know that you're in love with him. Infatuation. Go to the section. Fantasy love. You have a fantasy of what you want this person to be, and then she breaks the mold to bring you down to reality, you get mad. Lusty love. Passionate, physical, horny love with no real romantic, spiritual connection underneath it all. Love at first sight. Great if it's mutual, but generally a bit of infatuation unless you know how to get beyond the lovey-dovey eyes. Mature love. Simple acceptance of the other person as your friend and lover, warts and all. Lukewarm love. Person's alright but you'd probably leave if the right one came along. Lukewarm love quite often seems to work out over time, where the partners become comfortable with each other and can become greater than they were through hard work and doing fun things together. In order to have a loving relationship, the critical fact is that both must be willing to open up. Money love. Many people fall for someone because they think they have money, but the thing is that if someone has money gained through their own efforts, they're not stupid, have arrogance complexes, think they can do what they want, and that includes using you and cheating whenever they feel like it. Insecurity love. I believe only someone with a centered soul is capable of love for love's sake. Everybody else has ego attachments to their love, meaning it's love for the wrong reasons, usually to try to quell the black hole of emptiness you feel within, or simply the carnal need for sex. Some of these love affairs work, but many fall by the wayside simply because you have to love yourself first and know yourself before you should go for love. Dummy love. To me, this is when people get involved and stay in relationships for stupid, innocuous reasons, like they were brought up Christian, their family has never had a divorce and they don't want to be the first, or the biggest reason is that you're a wimp and you want this guy to keep paying the bills cause you're too scared or lazy to go it alone. As a talk show watcher for research for this book, I've seen dozens of women play out the script, get up there crying, saying he abuses them, but then, in the same breath, say they love him. Get real, you don't love him. You're just a lazy schmuck who loves the easy lifestyle of afternoon soap operas. If someone's mean to you, try to work it out, and if it doesn't work, leave. You don't hang on with the phony crap about, but I love him. Get it into your thick head, there's no such thing as human security. Ultimately, the only one who will ever take care of you is you, so don't get dependent on him or anyone else, ever. You gotta stand alone anyway in order to be a full human being. I see so many insecure girls muckling onto their guys out in public. The fallacy is that love will solve your problems, but it can't, because life always comes down to you alone, stuck in your own thoughts. Real human beings make it on their own without dependence on anyone or anything. The second part of dummy love is TV reality. Love ain't what it looks like on TV and in the movies. Real life is day-to-day respect and making allowances for the other person in your life. It's sometimes bad breath, hard work, fatigue, fed up, leave me alone, etc. It's very easy to get down on yourself and take it out on your love interest. The frustration-aggression hypothesis says we take out our frustrations on the object that's least likely to fight back. It's not your boss, it could be your dog, more often it's your wife or your kids. Get real, see her as she really is, and get rid of those phony, fantasy expectations. I wonder how many relationships the movies have ruined simply by presenting this phony, sexual fantasy idea of what love is. Know yourself, know your own love life, take care of it yourself, and don't give control over to anyone masquerading as an expert. The only time I see any use for outside counseling if the couple is so far gone that they need someone else simply to get them talking again as reasonable human beings. Dig deep into your own soul. The love is in there, just be gentle with yourself and bring it out. You don't need anybody to mess you up, the enlightenment is already inside of you. Christians define different types of love. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It is not rude, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. So these things continue forever, faith, hope and love. And the greatest of these is love. I Corinthians 13, 1-13. Christian romance websites. ucg.org/booklet/marriage-hive-and-missing-divorce-marriage/different-kinds-love-mentai, the different kinds of love mentioned in the Bible, United Church. Bible.ca/f-love-3kinds.htm, 3 different kinds of love. highlandpc.com/article/difflove.php, different kinds of love, Highland Park Church, Kokomo, Indiana. biblesolution.org/kindsoflove.html, kinds of love. ucg.org/booklet/fm/love.asp, the different kinds of love mentioned in the Bible, United Church of God. Types of love websites. giadnac/project/different-kinds-of-love. talkaboutmarriage.com/general-relationship-discussion/3991-5-kinds-love.html. examiner.com/article/15-different-types-of-love, 15 different types of love. muslimphilosophy.com/hazm/akalaq/akalaq6.html, the different kinds of love. love.wygoi.com/love-basics/types-of-love.php